pizza we made. Yeah, it was nice.
Okay, good. Yeah, nice. What about you, Smell? What was your highlight of the week?
Me?
Yeah. Anything interesting happened this week?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Chicken and chips at Masjid Omar.
Nothing.
It's always a highlight.
I don't think you know that.
We got. I suppose we shouldn't really talk about food in the middle of our fast. But one of the highlights for me was one of my neighbours sent some very, very delicious dal gosh. Actually, the other highlight of the week was yesterday at school at Monday.
What?
We got into school, and there's a car in the middle of the school playground, and they had to put that, that security plastic around it. So all the boys were wondering, what's this car doing in the playground? And somebody had been to Madani for Taraweeh and left their car behind. They forgot the car.
Did you get it back?
Yeah, well, it was when I arrived, the facilities manager was like, he was calling the police and stuff. I mean, you can't leave a car, randomly in a playground. There could be something in it, or
yeah.
But then the person whose car it was arrived, and I'm not sure what the story was. I think he'd got a lift home from someone, and probably planned to get it later. Maybe fell asleep. I don't know what the story was, but it was quite a strange sight. Car in the middle of the playground.
Why did they just leave it there? Why did they?
Well, I mean, the boys might sit on it and scratch it. And
that's true.
There could be something wrong with it.
No drugs in it, is there?
Well, who knows? Exactly. Who knows? A bomb knows a bit of that.
Don't say that.
No, exactly. So, but
Can
you can't
you
just
say
leave
that?
Well, you can say it. But
People get. I mean,
it's not a likely. It's not a likely scenario. But you can't just leave a school a car randomly in a school playground. Anyway, that was quite. It was quite.
Have you ever done that?
Have I ever left a car in a playground?
Yeah.
No, I think I haven't. No, that's not one of the things on my.
Yeah, you have no cheeky. I know you're like.
So anyway, guys, this week we're going to be focusing on Islamic education, and particularly Islamic education for people with special needs, or you might say learning disability, or you might say what I put in the title was atypical learning profile.
Yeah.
Not typical.
I like
that one.
Yeah.
Or neurodiversity.
That's what
one. It's nice having these titles which haven't got the word disorder in it or disability. We talked about that last week, didn't we, with ADHD? Yes. So yeah, atypical learning profiles. People who don't fit naturally into what is actually fantastic, which is our the madrasa set up here in Leicester, and probably in other towns as well. But I think Leicester's madrasa system is amazing. You know, all these students at Madin school, after they finish school at 3 o'clock, they go home for an hour, and then sort of 4 or 5, they go to madrasa for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours every day, 5 days a week. So can you imagine how many people become Hafiz the Quran in Leicester? I mean, there's thousands and thousands of Hufaz in Leicester. I mean, the system's amazing, but it doesn't fit everyone. And, parents of people, and also the people themselves who have atypical learning needs, in other words, don't fit into the... Have you ever seen a madrasa? Ismail, have you ever seen a madrasa? Didn't you ever see the Madani one? Was it going when you were there?
Yes.
And then people used to sit in the masjid, didn't they, after school?
Yeah.
In groups. So you have like a group of maybe 15 with one Malana. And you'll come one by one, and he'll listen to you reading, and go over what you've learned, and correct your mistake. Then you have to go and sit down again. So you just have to sit in one place, more or less, for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
How do you think you'd be at that, Sidi?
Good.
You think you could sit in one place for an hour and a half, quite happy, learning one piece of Quran? I'm not sure if you could. I may be wrong. I don't think Ismail would enjoy that.
I like to try it.
You'd like to try it?
Have
you ever tried it? If I can arrange it. Well, maybe I could. But what happens is very often is people with autism or atypical learning profiles, where they don't. It doesn't work for some people to sit in one place like that. And maybe they've got a bit hyperactivity and they can't. Sitting and learning one thing for a long period of time just doesn't work for them.
Oh.
So then they get excluded from the madrasa. They can't go. So then the parents are like, well, what kind of education, Islamic education, are we going to give to our children?
That's bad.
Well, I mean, obviously parents should educate their own children. Like, you know a lot about your Islam from your family.
Yeah.
I mean, but what kind of madrasa do you think would have worked for you, or would work for you? What would you like to? What kind of
lectures? Go to lectures.
In lectures, but if you go to a lecture, how good are you sitting in one place?
I can do it.
You can do it, but do you like doing it?
Yeah.
Do you learn from it?
Yeah.
Sitting in one place.
When I went with you to that Dosa, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but you went to the back and chatted with people. It's not criticism. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But when the talk was on, you went to the back and chatted with people because you're a chatty guy, aren't you? Let's face it, you are a chatty guy.
Yeah.
Okay. That's nothing wrong with it. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good to be chatty. You're friendly as well. So what you like doing generally, what I've seen of you is you like sitting with someone and chatting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily work in certain times. I mean, it can work in some madrasas. And we're going to talk today about one madrasa in particular called Project Bilal that Ismail goes to and that I'm involved with. Ismail, give us a little description of Project Bilal and how that works. What do we do there?
We do Quran,
And how do we recite the Quran? How do we learn it?
just Surah Fatiha,
Yeah, and
Qul Allahu Ahad,
yeah,
and Qul A'udhu Rabbil Falaq,
and
Qul bin Nas.
so those are the surahs we concentrate on most. Al-Fatiha, Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Ikhlas, Surah Falaq, Qul A'udhu bi Rabbil Falaq, Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas. We don't do Surah Mulk, but we could do. I mean, I started this sort of when I was teaching. Ismail's been to a few Islamic schools. He's lucky actually because as well as going to this madrasa, he's actually been to Islamic schools. What are the Islamic schools you've been to, Ismail and Esther?
I've been to Asra.
I know. They tell me of your schools.
I mean, I went to Nasser.
Al-Aqsa, yeah. What was the kind of Islamic? Did you feel you learnt things about Islam at Al-Aqsa? What did we used to do at Al-Aqsa? Who taught you about the religion or Quran?
I just go over all the feats.
The nasheed and also the du'as.
Yeah.
Rabbi ja'alni muqim as-salat. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Go on, recite it. Do you remember it? Rabbi ja'alni muqim as-salati wa min dhurriyyati.
ربنا هب لنا ربنا اغفر
يوم يقوم الحساب. Yeah, so if you go to Islamic school, for instance at Madani, before each lesson we recite Al-Fatiha and we recite a dua at the end as well. So naturally, if you're around Muslims or in an Islamic environment, you learn stuff.
Yeah.
And so one of the ideas of Project Bilal is to learn stuff, by being around. We have Malana Shahid is the main guy. He's coming on, by the way, later. Oh, look, he's ready. Fantastic. Should we bring him in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready. The guest is ready. Excellent. Good.
Is it a Zoom call or video?
It says 35 minutes. We can't possibly. Oh, we got 35 minutes left. Okay, fine. It means that's how long we've got left of the show. I thought we'd been on for 35 minutes. We've only been on for about 10 minutes. So the guest is ready. We're going to bring in good listeners. We're going to bring in the founder of Project Bilal, Malana Shahid, inshallah.
The video?
I don't know if it's me on video or audio.
You can't text it.
We'll just to find out when he comes on. That's fine. Just inshallah. And we can talk a little bit about how Project Bilal got going and what we do with Project Bilal. No video today.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. It's radio.
Can you ask him to do it
It's
next
all
time?
about radio. Maybe you can get it on next time. Alhamdulillah.
Have you got a photo of him you can show?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I will introduce you at some point. Yeah, it'd be nice for you to meet you. Inshallah. But yeah, so I was saying, obviously, Ismail, the Islamic schools Ismail was on, went to, he got a bit of education as well. I mean, and you, Siddiq, you learn, you listen to Surah Yasin every day, don't you?
Yeah.
And Surah Mulk.
If listen out especially for my cousins.
You think your cousins might be listening?
Yeah.
Is anyone you think might be listening that you want to?
What, Jason and Eve and all my stuff at Valley that like.
What about Ismail's brother-in-law?
Abdul Malik, I hope you listen to it as well.
Right, you never know, he could be listening online.
Can we call it after?
After we could call it. Yeah.
Or
Anyway.
Uncle Richard.
Uncle Richard, that's a
Uncle Richard, not Uncle Albert.
Uncle Albert. So, what do you, if you had a madrasa, what do you think would be the ideal sort of number of people in the madrasa for you?
100 people.
No. I mean, 100. You'd never get to see the teacher, would you?
I don't know, 20?
That'd be a lot.
I'm guessing, I don't know.
Yeah, but like values. How many people do you work with? Say at values. In a class size. If you do cooking, how many people are doing cooking with you?
4 people.
There you go. That's ideal. That's 3, 4 people, and then you get a bit of attention from the teacher, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've got too many people. The teacher can't stop people going to cupboards eating biscuits or whatever else might go on.
I know.
Yeah. So
Oi.
Why are you holding your head? Yeah. Where's Mohammed Shahid? He's ready. I think he's going to be brought on as soon as. There we go. Look, there's you. You're on now. You see.
Assalamu alaikum.
Are you there, Malana?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Jazakallah, Ustaz. Really nice to have you. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Siddiq. Assalamu alaikum, Ismail. You alright?
I'm doing good.
Ismail, you recited really well, mashallah. I heard your Surah Fatiha earlier.
Yeah.
When am I going to get to see you? I want to see you one day. When will I get to see you, my friend?
I've heard so much about you, Siddiq. Mashallah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, we'll
have to arrange it.
Eid day, innit? Eid, innit?
Inshallah.
That would be a nice occasion, inshallah. Inshallah. So good of you to invite to come on. We were just talking about Islamic education. Ismail obviously has been lucky because he's been to Al-Aqsa school and Madani, so he had some Islamic education through his mainstream school. Siddiq listens to a lot of Quran. Obviously, he's got family around him, and a lot of people, in what you might say the special needs, or I've entitled it for this this session, the atypical learning profile needs community. Bit of a mouthful. Don't get to go to madrasa. So we've talked a bit about Project Bilal, obviously. And just to introduce you to the listeners, so Malana Shahid is, not only did he set up this Special Needs Madrasah Project Bilal, but he's also the Special Needs Coordinator at Madani School. So Malana, just tell us, how did you get into the special needs field? How did that happen?
So my journey in the field of special needs really began in my final year at Darul Uloom. So I was studying my Islamic education and in Alimiya in Darul Bari, and I was deeply inspired by my respected teacher, so Sheikh Bilal Bawa. He's often here at Madni every year, and my Sheikh Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Mutala Sahab, Rahimullah, encouraged me to serve children with special needs and help fulfill their right to learn the Deen of Islam. So then, after I graduated and I completed my studies at Preston University. So I was specializing in British Sign Language because there's a lot of deaf children children as well as adults within the community that really needed help. And so I initially began working at a local Muslim deaf children in the whole of Lancashire. And that was
Preston,
before.
Was it?
Yeah, Preston, Blackburn, Bolton, and Bury.
So when you were learning sign language, I mean, how long does that take? I mean, what kind of course did you do?
So it's quite. Really, I started learning from. There's a guy called Masood first, where Mohammed Bilal Sahib introduced me to him because he had a son called Harun, who was completely deaf, and he was born deaf and profoundly deaf, and so we started learning sign language there first in the masjid, and Mohammed Bilal Sahib used to facilitate it. Then my sheikh then introduced me to that there's a course available in Preston University, so I could learn it at a degree level, which is sign language.
Oh, wow.
So our teachers, they were all actually profoundly deaf at the university.
The teachers were profoundly deaf.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So it's like when you learn languages and you're only exposed to the language that you're learning.
That's right.
Right.
So they were. It just happened so that when I was introduced to Preston University, and we had somebody that came in our final year to really talk about and promote studying at university. They said we're the best sign languages in the country, at the time. So so that's how my journey started in terms of working with special needs and those
So
especially the deaf.
I did a languages degree. I did Arabic and Spanish. I came out with a degree, and my spoken Arabic was very poor. My Spanish was quite good. I mean, how in terms of fluency, how fluent were you by the end of your degree in terms of? I mean, obviously you see these people at events and so on, and they're sort of live translating into sign language, aren't they? Which they've got a very high level for that. I mean, what sort of level? Did you?
I got You can. There's something called CACDP, which is the different test levels. So level 1 is quite simple. You can do that at GCSE level, but then there's level 2, and it carries on.
Right.
But by when you do the undergraduate degree, you finish at around about level 2, and you can have a conversation, by that time. But interpreting, you need to go and do some postgraduate work and stuff, master's level and things like that. So, but that was kind of
any other language you need to practice a lot.
That's right. You need to practice a lot. So practicing with your teachers on a daily basis, and there were students in the class that were also deaf as well, because it's the program was called Deaf Studies. We're learning about the deaf culture and everything. And it was interesting, while learning that, they mentioned how they would have interpreters in churches, 500 years ago. You start learning things like that, and then you reflect, thinking, how much of that is available in our masajid, and that was at that time, early 2000, so even then, alhamdulillah, at least it had started. But you think back, they were thinking about, the Christians were thinking about their deaf community, and they would make sure that in certain churches they had interpreting available, for their Sunday service and things like that. But that's where it all started, in terms of my journey. Until I returned to my hometown in 2005, Leicester. And I was introduced to LIA because they needed a vacancy there. And from there, I started my kind of teaching and teacher training. Moved into Madani school, and then later completed master's degree level for special education needs coordination.
Okay, you actually did a master's in that, right? Mashallah.
Yeah. So then, since then, I've been serving as a SENCO at the school, supporting children with autism, Down syndrome, hearing, and that's where I met myself and Ismail.
Because when we finished, when Ismail finished at Al-Aqsa, I thought it'd be very nice if he could have some experience of mainstream school, especially Madani being there, and this unique school, the only voluntary, LEA funded Muslim school in the country. So that's when I met you, Malana, and mashallah, me and Ismail, I ended up coming there with him. So alhamdulillah, Ismail, I was encouraged to learn sign language. You know quite a lot of sign language, Ismail, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you still use it at all? Ashfield, they used to use it quite a lot. Have you ever been introduced to sign language?
No.
You don't use it?
I mean, obviously,
you can talk well, but did you always talk well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a big, that's one of your strengths.
Can I ask Malala from out the number?
No. So everything goes through me, you know how it is.
Malala?
Yeah.
Can you do day trips for us in the summer, like go waterfalls or something like that?
Inshallah, we have done day trips in the past for students at Project Bilan.
So we have done a few outings. I mean, one of the things we want to talk about as well, we can talk about Project Bilan and what it involves, but what we were talking about before Malana came on was what sort of things you'd like to see in a madrasa city, wasn't it? And that'd be one of the things you'd like to see,
about
day trips.
Yeah, day trips.
Wave in Coventry.
Wave in Coventry, that's
religious places.
Okay.
Like go to a mosque, different types of mosques around Leicester, around the country, like go to the mosque inside. I like that place.
Yeah, or going to different masajid would be nice around Leicester, as a group.
Like that, I mean, other countries, like
other countries, I think that's a bit ambitious. That's a bit ambitious, probably, because it needs a lot of organising that. But I mean, again, nice idea.
Yeah.
If one had the funding and one had the transport, that is a nice idea.
Yeah.
I mean, because then it gives you, as a young Muslim student, an idea of your community across the country. Definitely, it's interesting. That's an interesting point. So coming back to Project Bilal, was that something that you had in your mind that you'd like to set up a madrasa for? Did you have a question? Yeah.
So obviously, as my role, I established my role at Madani School. Obviously, you get to meet a lot of families, especially students coming through the years. So as my network grew, more parents began approaching me with concerns about the lack of facilities in mainstream masajid and madrasas for children with special needs. And and that's what got me really thinking. And with the guidance of Bilal Sahab, I initiated Project Bilal in 2016. And Bilal stands for like building independent learning and life skills, and it was nice to add that touch as well. So, but that really underpins what we want to really do and achieve. We want them to be able to learn. We want them to build on their life skills. We want them to become independent, and that would be one of our like aims and vision and objectives as well. So, alhamdulillah, we now have like a small dedicated team. Jazakallah to you as well, Ustad, and then we gather weekly at Masjid Islah, and we rent their hall, and children genuinely enjoy attending. Alhamdulillah, and look forward to the sessions.
Yeah, they're nice. They're
just for the
nice
listeners, I mean, so they know and they understand. We use like practical and creative teaching approaches to help pupils learn about Islam in a way that is accessible to them. Many of the children we support, they generally, they have severe and complex needs, helping to fill any gap.
Say, obviously, any madrasa, I mean,
that's right.
There's a various different ranges of need, aren't there?
That's right.
You have kids who can sort of almost attend normal madrasa but can't really, get excluded, or they just don't really fit for them. And then you get those who the parents know that there's no way they're going to go to madrasa. Maybe they're non-verbal or whatever. But then there's no provision for them. So, I mean, Project Bilal sort of more towards the end of the, like you say, the more complex needs, or people with less speech.
That's right. So we're really trying to fill the gap that mainstream madrasas often struggle to accommodate. So those are severe and complex, but there's alhamdulillah, we have provided some training to certain madrasas. Recently I did a special needs awareness training at the Nighton Masjid in January, and it's about certain masajids just to start to feel a bit more brave about, sometimes they may see or hear from parents, and I think sometimes parents hide it as well, that their children they're on the autism spectrum, or they have an autism spectrum condition, or they may have mild conditions, but they may hide it. And I say that at the back of my role at Masjid Ali. Alhamdulillah, at Masjid Ali we have students that have an education healthcare plan in the madrasa, students that are on the autism spectrum, and various other needs.
So
I feel the mild.
What is the sort of model of catering for them in the mainstream madrasa? Obviously, we were talking before, like the madrasa. Obviously, I wasn't raised in a madrasa system, so I don't know it so well. But from what I sort of see, it looks like 10 to 15 kids, one teacher. You get sort of set up, something to practice or memorize, and you'll get your turn with the teacher every half an hour or 2 or 3 times in the lesson. How does it work? I mean, so then if you're gonna adjust that for people with different learning needs, what adjustments are made in a mainstream?
So
Masjid Ali.
I think as a madrasa, it's important that we understand and know the pupils very well. That's the first step. I mean, right. If we kind of divide it and understand that there's mild needs, moderate, and then there's the severe. I would say obviously the severe, it would be a place like Project Bilal, but kind of the mild and in between, getting to know the pupils, so having information from parents, that is very important, because what will happen is, and I'm sure all of the masajids, when they have their application process, they should be asking the question if your child is on the special education needs register at school, if they have an education healthcare plan, if they have a sensory need, if they have any sort of condition, that needs to be listed. And if and sometimes they don't, and I know that from my experience at Masjid Ali. Sometimes parents don't, and you start to then pick it up in class.
I mean, they probably don't share because they're worried that they're going to be told that the madrasa can't cope for the child.
That's right. A lot of the times that is the case. But alhamdulillah, as certain parents know that there are certain, we have special needs children, and we try and cater for them at Masjid Ali, they've been quite open about it, or they come in for that reason. Sometimes they come in to see me in the masjid for Project Bilal. And I said, well, this is madrasa time for Masjid Ali, but we have that conversation. And sometimes where I direct that conversation, I said, well, your child's perfectly fine to be going to a mainstream madrasa. And I said, I'm happy to trial him here at Masjid Ali. He doesn't really, his profile and what you've explained to me doesn't need to be at Project Bilal, because that is really for those that have complex needs. And with the support, and I support staff in my madrasa here at Masjid Ali, and we kind of work out a plan. Sometimes I tell parents, look, let's give it a go. Let's review it after a few weeks. Let's start with half an hour and let's start increasing it, because
So do you do that? So
ADHD.
some children will only come in for sort of part of the session.
Yeah, initially.
Okay. Do any children continue with that and they just do half-hour sessions, ongoing, or are you always aiming to bring them up to the?
We're always aiming to bring them up in line with others, and some at times, and many of the times it's happened is where we started for, let's say, half an hour, 45 minutes. We've always increased that time, and they just settle in with the normal timetable and the routine of the madrasa. Where there's a lot of difficulty, then we would maybe reduce it at times. It all depends on different children.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, a lot of those students that have those mild needs, moderate even to some degree, we can actually meet their needs in a mainstream madrasa.
Right. And so do you change the class sizes at all, or is it pretty much the same format?
I think we should. It would be helpful to have a class that is slightly, I think around about 15 to 18 class size, or if it's even lower, if certain madaris can afford and accommodate, because it comes down to resources as well.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Yeah.
If they can accommodate a small class or a small setting, or if they've got a number of children they know that are on waiting list that have certain needs, and then you can open up a class with a very small class size, and parents will understand that they're paying slightly more because it's a very small class.
It's a small
but
class,
then
and
that,
also you might need someone with a bit of extra qualifications, or even another person in there as well. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
so obviously, because I'm here, at Masjid Ali, I can guide staff and help staff, and support them through the process, and they know when they're stuck with something, they'll come and see me and sit down. We'll have a chat and we'll go over a plan.
Yeah.
Or we'll have a support plan in place.
Strategies and so on.
Yes. So obviously there's that advantage there. But I think, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, generally, the focus in madrasas is, primarily learning to read the Quran nicely, memorizing the Quran, learning the basic beliefs and practices of Islam. I mean, I suppose for when we go beyond the people who can't access mainstream madrasa, thinking about the Project Bilal ones, what's the sort of outcome that we're looking for? What's the outcome you think parents should be looking for? Or what's the outcome the young people themselves, require as Muslims? Do you know what I mean? What I suppose the aim is different for everyone, but can you say anything about that you can think of, especially regarding?
I think managing parental expectation is really important. So like we have students that are at madrasa that are nonverbal. We have students that cognitively they're not developed fully, and the parents that we have a project, they totally understand that there's limitations, and therefore they're happy for their children to come in an Islamic environment, learn etiquettes, learn some surahs of the Quran, learn how to perform salah, how to the adab of eating, the adab of sleeping, certain du'as that they need in their lives, how to perform salah, how to perform ablution and wudu, all of those things,
With those things you think would be useful for you, Sidi?
What?
You're not listening. I caught you there. No, so when I was just saying, some of the things that we do in Project Bilal, like learning, you might know this stuff already, learning how to make wudu, learning the du'as, for waking up, going to sleep, learning how to pray salah and stuff like that. With that kind of thing.
I like to learn that. Yeah.
Do you know some of that already?
No, I don't speaking like lie.
You know a few du'as, don't you? Yeah. But that's it. I mean, so part of it is things that are practical and doable
Yes.
and learnable for but the other thing is I know for the young people themselves, in terms of seeing themselves and having a place, as it were,
Absolutely.
in the Muslim community, isn't it? I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, as in, many mainstream madrasas, want to help, but don't always have the training, staffing, or resources to support children with moderate, to complex needs rather. And as a result, families have felt isolated, pupils have been isolated, they've not,
That's it.
after school, they have nowhere to go,
Exactly. They'll see their siblings and all their cousins all going
That's
off to
right.
madrasa and they're at home. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the beauties of the project. I mean, definitely. I mean, over the years, we've had how many people have been through our madrasa? Do you think? And we've got a sort of core, haven't we? About 6 or 7, or maybe 5 who've been there for a long time.
They've
And then
been
we've
there for a
had
long
quite a
time.
few people who've come in and out.
Come and go. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. What do you think? What would be the
I mean,
sort of, does Project Bilal sort of fit the sort of vision you had for special needs madrasa, or when you started it, or do you think
yeah,
there's more to be done?
I'd say, Alhamdulillah, I feel like, feel really happy and proud and shukr to Allah for how far we have come. But I don't think we've not yet reached where we aspire to be, or where I initially thought that we want to be, when we started out in 2016. I think that our biggest challenge with study is the, lack of personnel. We currently
Yeah.
have many children on the waiting list, many, and sometimes, I'm getting calls all the time from parents requesting space, and due to health and safety requirements and risk assessments, we can't just simply expand without additional trained staff. And you know,
Yeah,
at
it's
this
the
point,
key.
using the radio, I would say, we welcome qualified teachers, especially like those are in the primary sector, or even in secondary schools, or that are training or aspiring to become teachers. We'd love them to be on board. And even, ulama, if they need to get trained up, and they wanna, sometimes it's just one-to-one, working with one pupil, and more than happy to pay. Although we all work as volunteers, alhamdulillah, but we're more than happy to have handsome payment offered. We can offer that, and we're ready to provide some training and ongoing support for those who may feel they lack experience in send.
Yeah, I mean,
And
volunteering is a key part of it, isn't it? I mean,
volunteering, yes.
because very often people will start as volunteers and they gain experience, and then they may be able to, to take on a paid role through the experience
Yeah.
they gain. We've had some really brilliant people coming in, haven't we, and helping sometimes for a period of a few
Mashallah.
months, and then
Yeah.
obviously that's the difficulty, is the continuity, really, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you have a couple of people in, and then you can get a couple more pupils in, and then those teachers have to leave for some reason, and then what do? You're short staffed, and then things become a bit dangerous, to manage. The risks are, go up. So that is the key thing, is the volunteering aspect of it.
Yeah, we warmly welcome volunteers, who wish to give back to the community, and we're here to support them. And many of us work in schools supporting SEND children. I've got a lot of the experience, and happy to guide volunteers. And I think we mentioned this in the past study. It's a excellent opportunity for college students, particularly those aspiring to careers in teaching, to gain valuable experience, or
Yeah.
anyone wishing to contribute in any way is encouraged to get in touch with yourself, Ustad, or
Absolutely.
through our website. Our website's there available. I'm sure towards the end you can leave some details as well, inshallah. Project Bilal.
Projectbilal.org.uk.
That's right.
So Project Bilal, all one word, .org.uk is the website, and there's contact numbers on there. Yeah, we absolutely. Go on, Ismail.
More volunteers.
We do, don't we? Because you've thought of quite a few people, haven't you, Ismail, that you'd like to join. You're often saying to me, "Oh, it would be good if such and such join." I mean, Sadiq's mentioned he'd like to come. I mean, Milan's got a long waiting list. Who knows how many people in Leicester? I mean, because we at the moment we're catering for boys and young men. Obviously, there'd be massive demand for a similar setup for girls. But we need the staff to cope with that as well. So the
And
need is
yeah,
there. Yeah.
absolutely. And our vision, like inshallah for the future, hopefully, our aim is to provide respite and meaningful support to families by creating this safe space for children that can learn Islam alongside developing independent life skills. And that's what we started out with in terms of our vision, Ustad. And like we've talked about this as well several times, how we Ustad, about wanting to offer like special needs Eid Salah, and
Yeah.
organize outdoor holiday activities like controlled environment. And we've done some of that during the holiday period, but offering that on a regular, and obviously some of those aspects, we could not just to our project kids, but other SEND children. We want to make sure that it's open to a lot of children, and for that, obviously, you need volunteers.
You need
And
volunteers in
also
the space. I mean, we should shout out for the Peace Centre as well, who've done a lot with under
they've
the,
done
you know, the guidance
excellent
of
work,
Moulana Lockhart. They
mashallah.
provide some of these activities as well.
Yeah.
Meetups and
No, hold on.
Eid celebrations. Yes, the Thurmby Lodge Masjid Peace Centre.
No, been there.
Yeah, we should go that one time. I mean, so obviously, there are other people working in this field, but again, the key. I mean, one of the things you mentioned before, Milan, is if one had a centre.
Yes.
Because if one had a dedicated centre, then
Yeah,
you could
we
start
could do
bringing
so
people
much more.
in, and you could do so much more and have different sessions for different people. Obviously, one's restricted to, if you're renting a space for a certain couple of hours a week, then that's really all you can offer. So
Yeah.
that's another issue there as well.
What about
I mean,
jobs centre?
The job centre, you mean providing jobs for people? We actually talked about that before, Ismail, is making you, one of the leads at Project Bilal, and you actually assisting
Yeah.
with people's learning. Yeah,
You're the
talk about
future,
one of your
Ismail.
jobs. You're the future of the project.
Well, the next door neighbours have a job centre.
Actually, I think I know who you mean. Kai Sab's brother-in-law works at a job centre. Yeah, no, he's got some connection with the special needs field. I can't quite remember what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
I mean,
people
another
who
thing.
have.
Another
Because
thing
there's
was that
yeah,
is,
go ahead.
a lot of parents, they get in touch, especially they need, special needs families.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need a lot of support and that kind of advocacy, service, for families. They would get in touch, seeking advice,
Yeah.
There's
So
guidance.
much.
They need guidance regarding challenges their children facing in school. Some of them, they get taken out from schools, and it's nice that now there's a lot of focus from Ofsted in school on SEND.
Right.
If you go back 10 years, 15 years, almost, SEND were kind of sidelined because it's all about the results in schools, and they just carry on the side. If we've seen it in the past, but now there's a lot more scrutiny on special educational needs, and it's so nice to see that everyone's really worried in the education system about how are those 10 children going to do, what's their outcomes going to be like, where are they going next, so parents, a lot of the times, they'll get in touch for advice. They want some that kind of advocacy for themselves, or they just need signposting to somebody somewhere that they can gain a lot of support.
Transitions and all the different
Absolutely.
stages as well. Wanting to know what the kids are going to do afterwards. I mean, obviously we've got two young men in are you still a young man, Sadiq?
38.
Yeah, not that young, are you? Well, you're quite young. Depends who you're comparing to.
Hell yeah.
What about Answer?
Well, exactly. So Ansar, we'll have a chat with them next week. I mean, that's then when you get beyond the school system, then you get into the daycare situation, which is what you do as well, Sadiq, isn't it? Values. So parents wanting to know what the provision is there, how to access funds, the care plan, PAs, all the rest of it. And so again, information and somewhere where people can get that information and be reassured about next steps and all that kind of stuff would be really useful. That's
and it's nice that
would be
sorry,
a branch of Project Bilal's provision.
I was just thinking at this point, Ustad, about some of the barriers that we have Um, so obviously we talked about a space, having your own dedicated space that will help us grow. Um, having, you know, members of the community come and join us, assist volunteers. I think Mona Loka always mentions that as well. I heard him not too long ago, where he mentioned about, mashallah, the sisters really come forward, but the brothers, he's thinking, where are they
Yeah.
in helping within the community? Um, and we really would need the community support. And you can support in many ways. Obviously, we need your du'as. You can support financially. You can support with, maybe even reaching out and saying, well, this place is good. Why don't we use this space? Or it could be any,
Absolutely.
just spreading
I mean, I think
awareness.
we're quite good in Leicester at supporting, financially and that kind of thing. I think one of the things that people maybe don't see as charity is their own time. And I guess
Absolutely.
nowadays time is so, we talk about, there's no barakah in time and there's busy lives we lead. But if you can take time out, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be taking time out if it wasn't the fact that I'd met you. And you're like, let's do this, and so, but you have to sort of carve the time out. It's not very easy. You have to
Yes.
push, other things out of the way and think, I'm not, because this is the day when you know what I mean?
That's right.
Volunteering is such a, look, you got a good morning, Sadiq, from your friend, a message from Sadiq. But yeah, so people thinking of time as something that you give. Yes, your friend Jason sent a message to you from Values. Good morning.
Yeah.
Go on ahead, Malan.
I was remembering the other day, Ismail mentioning that, eventually we need to have like a project, Bilal Umrah trip for send children
Yes.
and their families.
What do you think about that?
Can you ask him to video call us, Jason?
I've already got it. Yeah, something Ismail's mentioned. That would be next level, wouldn't it? Malan? Umrah trip.
Yeah.
How can
For
I
them
go?
to experience that
Well, let me go.
spiritual journey in a supported way, that would be really nice for them as well, inshallah.
I know Jason from the park.
You know Jason as well.
Can you ask him to ring? Can you ask
We've
him?
only got 1 minute left.
No,
Marshall, we only got 1 minute left. So, Marshall, any closing comments you want to make, Sadiq, before we finish?
No, I'm right. Fine.
Ismail, anything else about projects or special needs education?
Brain transplant? Joking.
Very fun. Very, very fun.
You need a hair transplant?
A hair transplant, thank you very much.
I was thinking of
Sorry. How long you laugh?
I was thinking of we should do
Wave in Coventry as a day trip. Yes, day trips, Malana. Malana Sam,
Inshallah.
any closing comments from you? Just coming
Well,
to the end
finally, I'll just mention that, inshallah, inclusion, I feel, is a communal responsibility. Every child deserves access to Islamic education in a way that meets their needs. If we come together as a community, inshallah, with our skills, like we mentioned, time and resources, I'm sure we can build something truly impactful for these children and their families, inshallah.
And that's the end of our time. May Allah bless you so much.
Jazakallah.
Can you come next week? Can you come on it next week? Is he coming on next
Jazakallah.
week? Can you come next week?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We ask him. We ask him to come next week.
Here we go.
I like
You
it.
could have asked him. You were sitting there fiddling
You
around.
didn't read that?
No, we didn't get a chance this time, did we? Yes.
those cards.
Yeah, those cards, I need them to. You pulled them out of there, so now I don't know where the poem that I was going to read is. I put them in there as a bookmark. So if you just give them back, because they're not yours, they're my cards, and I use them as bookmarks. The next time, I can't read the poem now because I don't know where it is.